So Chibi Reviews is currently in the midst of another controversy, to no surprise, this time involving an assassination attempt, which led to him creating yet another GiveSendGo, which is basically like a GoFundMe. The last one he made, he ended up taking $17,000 from his fans for a lawsuit that ended up not going anywhere, so that money went right into his pocket. He is the next JFK if we do not step in and stop this situation. Chibi Kirk is facing backlash. Someone is trying to assassinate me and the police are involved. Of course, he made a video about it.
No, the video title is not a joke, everybody. There is actually threats against my life, and obviously I'm addressing this for a variety of reasons because it's quite a critical situation that does need to be talked about. So I received a threatening letter recently that came into my actual mailbox, and I will show a picture on the screen. You could see it for yourself. And then in between the lines, if you look at it, it's a very veiled threat that they also potentially want to take my life.
In which he was sent a letter in the mail. Got a threat to my life in the mail. Kiwi Farms and others are encouraging this. People telling me to not take it serious or it's just jokes. Explain this crap. And you might notice it's censored right here. Honestly, this whole thing's probably going to be censored until I get to the 1 minute part of this video because there's a lot of swearing. But what happened in this tweet is Chibi ended up doxing someone. No context to who that person may be, but Chibi did not blur that name for some reason, and they just included it right here, which is very weird. The letter says, "You effed up bad. You effed up aligning yourself with Von Dragon, Pedro Garcia, and Mr. Anime 343, all of which who exposed for P-word. You effed up having CSEM on DeviantArt. You effed up trying to take down my first video on you. You effed up in playing a part in suspending my Zeno Konosuke account. I'll get it back, lol. You effed up scamming your fan base. You effed up making an enemy out of me. Now I'm going to make sure I strip everything away from you. I took down your Twitter once before, so doing it again isn't going to be hard. But since you want to try to depth forward people who expose you, I'm aiming for your YouTube as well. You're a freaking pedophile and you deserve all of this. Jacob shouldn't have made an enemy out of me." I don't know if maybe I have bad reading comprehension. There's not a single threat on someone's life. If you're talking livelihood in terms of like YouTube and content creation, I can see that because the guy does clearly say, "I'm going to go after your Twitter and your YouTube." But this person never once claimed they're going to like come to his home and like do something really bad, or never claimed, "Oh, I'm sending people to your home," or anything like that, right? So the fact that Chibi's already like claiming this is a threat to his life kind of already, sets the stage of what this video is going to be about.
Obviously, the police and the authorities and stuff are taking the situation very seriously because sending a threatening letter like that through the mail, from what they're telling me, is a crime. It is 100% a crime, and they are investigating everything about the situation. They have told me that because of the immediate threats, death threats, and everything that's been happening as of late, that I now qualify, and my family qualifies, for basically scrubbing our private information offline.
So according to Chibi, which also is according to the police apparently, he's going into the Chibi protection program. Apparently the police are going to be able to help him scrub his data off the internet, which is something that you can like easily do if you just go into like all these like name and info databases and just ask them to remove your data. Even then, I'm not sure how that's going to change the fact that, again, all his information is on Kiwi Farms. As much as I also don't like, the idea of being doxxed and whatnot, unfortunately, your information, once it's out there, is out there, right? You can go through all these sites and make it harder to find. That doesn't change the fact that something like Kiwi Farms will always have that information. So I'm not sure like what the police involvement in this is going to be, but he also ended up posting a GiveSendGo link, which is saying if you want to help out and speed up the process of me moving to a safer location, any donation here will help. Help me move and stay safe. This is Chibi Reviews, also known as Jacob. I will keep this blunt. There's been active discussions for attempts on my life, and I've received threatening letters in the mail. These letters are being taken very serious by authorities. At this moment, the situation is out of my hands as they investigate the matter. Why are you getting the police involved with someone saying they're going to report your Twitter and YouTube? That's just me, right? This is the same guy who will say that, people like Jadeon and Schlepp are wasting police resources if, they get the police involved when it comes to someone in possession of lolly stuff and whatnot, which I also agree. Lolly is fictional. It's cartoons. There's not an actual victim. But it's still weird. It's still gross stuff, right? And I think that someone sending you a letter that they're going to get your accounts banned when, again, you are a public figure, your name is public. Unfortunately, you have been doxxed already, so your address and whatnot are like public information, unfortunately. And that's the problem with everyone. All of our information is public. The problem with you, Jacob, is you put your name everywhere. Mr. Jacob Sabers. I'm not doxing him. This is on his GiveSendGo. This was on his YouTube description for quite some time. And congrats to Chibi. He's already scammed his fans out of $8,380. Now, if you don't remember, this is not Chibi Reviews' first GiveSendGo, as he had another one where he was going to be suing some people who were slandering him, who were making up things about him on Kiwi Farms and whatnot. He was essentially going to sue his trolls. And what happened was he made a $25,000 goal. He raised about $17,000 and he sued nobody. He sued absolutely zero people. Am I going to make the accusation that Chibi Reviews is scamming again? I'm not going to say that. If people want to, I can understand why they would think that. Do I think that this $8,000 would be used to help him move? No. Do I think that a YouTuber with as much subscribers as he has, 488,000, needs to beg his fans for money to help him move? No. But I also don't think that this guy deserves to, have swatting attempts, which is apparently also another thing that's been happening to this guy as of late. Just had another swatting, and he posts a picture of sheriffs at this, I guess, outside of his house. Of course, once again, bringing attention to this situation. I think any normal person, any normal content creator, unfortunately, if you ever got doxxed or swatted, you would not want to bring attention to this situation. Something Chibi Reviews cannot do because he lives on drama. He lives on this perpetual cycle, of cause and effect, where when people do things to him in public or people send police to his home or he gets a letter, the first thing he does is run to his Twitter account, run to YouTube to try to monetize it. And that's his prerogative, right? I just don't think that's a smart move. Gave over all the details to authorities. I hope those from a certain group know they just escalated my situation by a considerable margin to become priority, and a certain owner fueling it ain't a good look as well. Breaking federal laws isn't smart. You ain't as anonymous as you think you are. This is in reference to Kiwi Farms, as Chibi has been going against Kiwi Farms, aka Joshua Moon. I've covered them on this channel quite a few times. They're oftentimes the host, the forum of a lot of big drama lolcows, right? Where people who become internet celebrities, whether they like it or not, whether it's for famous reasons or infamous reasons, they end up on Kiwi Farms, which archives essentially people's entire lives, whether that's where they live, their full name, their family's names, whatnot. You're allowed to think what you want about that. I have used the site to source some of my research for videos. I'm kind of in that spot where I don't condone some of the things they do, but I also think it provides a nice resource to look into some of the celebrities online. Chibi Reviews being one of them, who is a big target right now on Kiwi Farms because of his love for Lolly, which is something that people like Joshua Moon, the owner of Kiwi Farms, and Kiwi Farms in general, a lot of the users are against. They think that if you're cranking it to cartoon, anime kids, you're probably a weird person. And it's caused a humongous back and forth between Chibi and Joshua Moon. I'm not going to be covering that in this video because it will probably get age restricted, but basically that's that's what's all led to this whole thing. Apparently, Chibi is fighting with Kiwi Farms, which has caused this humongous thing where he's had to start a GoFundMe to move, and his fans have happily given him $8,000. I think that's a waste of money. I think you're stupid. If you're dumb enough to donate to this guy's original GiveSendGo, where he was going to, start a lawsuit and whatnot, and you still decided to give him even more money, it's kind of your fault. You're kind of a dummy for that. But I want to know what you guys think down below. I appreciate you watching. Peace.